Are you thinking about moving to Charleston, South Carolina, and wondering about the cost of insurance? If so, you're not alone. That is a very frequently asked questions from my clients and people that reach out to me curious about making the move here to beautiful Charleston. So today I wanted to bring in one of my favorite homeowners insurance experts. Her name is Kayla, and she is an independent insurance agent who has helped tons of my clients in the past with their homeowners insurance needs. She's going to be answering our questions today about different types of policies, things she recommends, tips for when you're shopping for homeowners insurance, and overall things that you need to know. By the way, if this is your first time to the channel, hi, I'm Sarah Newman. I'm a realtor and team leader here with the Elevate team at eXp Realty, and we love helping people just like you buy and sell here in the Charleston area. All of our contact information is pinned below if we can be of service to you, and all of Kayla's contact information is also pinned below, so you can reach out to her for all of your insurance needs. Without further ado, let's get into today's interview with Kayla McMillan from CNC Group. Welcome, Kayla. Thank you so much for joining us today to share all of your wisdom about homeowners insurance. This is the topic that, of course, as a realtor, I get asked about all of the time, and I like to defer to you as the expert because, you know, we all have our specialties. Myself as an agent, of course, I have certain lane I want to stay in, just like I don't want to give tax advice because I'm not a CPA or legal advice because I'm not an attorney. I don't like to give a lot of advice about insurance because I am not an insurance agent. So I'm really happy to have you on the call today and get to share your insurance wisdom with us. Before we go into some questions, I would love for you to share about yourself, a little bit about you and your favorite things about living in Charleston.
Great. Well, Sarah, thanks for having me. I enjoy working with you, and you can see here I'm on the river. I'm sitting at Wapu Cut here, West Ashley, and I've been in insurance for a couple years now. I grew up in Atlanta, and I've been here in Charleston area for over 20 years. And I enjoy keeping people safe. And that's why I'm in insurance. I want to help protect. It's kind of a mothering thing for me. Now with this recent storm, Kaleigh, I wanted to sit by the river to kind of emphasize some part of nature with insurance. 3 lovely kids and a fantastic husband. And we love the low country because of the beaches and the environment here. We can be outside most of the year to enjoy the wonderful weather.
Absolutely. And you are on John's Island, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. So I think one of the misconceptions I know really before I got into the industry as well, I really didn't understand homeowners insurance. And a lot of my clients, when they reach out and we start working together, of course, one of the questions that comes up is, how much is homeowners insurance? They want me to give them an exact number, which is not how it works because there are so many factors that go into an insurance quote that really varies by property, by individuals. So could you help debunk this a bit and explain some of the many variables that go into an insurance quote?
There's so many little things that go in, Sarah. So the 2 biggest things are your credit score. That's one. So if you have good credit, you're going to have a better premium. The insurance carriers see you as less risky. Another thing is claims. Have you had any recent claims? And have they been closed out? Also, has the house perhaps that you're buying had claims, and have those issues been resolved? So those are the 2 biggest things. And then we have little things like, how far away is the fire hydrant? And how far away is the fire station? And, you know, what year's the roof? You know, all these little things. So, I mean, there are a lot of details that go into it. Those are the bigger ones. And we could also say plumbing, what year was the plumbing updated, the electrical updated. I think those are the biggest things to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so somebody could be maybe considering three different homes, they all, like all of them, and then they could have dramatically different quotes for those homes. Just one might be new construction, while one might be an old home that has a 20-year-old roof and has, outdated electrical, and the quotes could just be very different for what their premium's actually going to be.
That's right. The past history of the house definitely matters, and the age of the house matters. Of course, all carriers like things that are new and updated. So buying a new house, they love that. And it's not that I love it. I'm the conduit between the carrier and the client, right? So I help people. I look at what they have for a house, and then I know what carrier will take them. And then we try to get the right price that the homeowner is comfortable with.
So on that note, I'd love to explain that a little bit more as well, because some people will go direct to a big insurance company, right, to their website and get a quote, but they can also go to an agent like you that can quote multiple companies and help them find the right policy that fits their needs. So can you explain a little bit of that process? Like if somebody's going to, get a quote, whether it's for their existing home or one that they want to purchase, can you explain kind of those differences of the ways that they can approach shopping and the value that you can add because you are more of a broker where you can look at these different companies versus being locked into just one company?
Right. Yes. So I'm an independent agent. That means I can shop many, many carriers versus a captive agent that works for one company and sells one product. So that's the major difference. Also, if a client wants to have a boutique service where someone asks them detailed questions and will answer their phone and respond by email and text, independent agent like myself is ideal, because I can help explain what everything means so that you understand what you're buying, just tell you what's out there as far as coverages.
And do you have advice for people, when they are going to get quotes? Are there particular questions that they really need to be asking that you find, some people just don't ask? How would you coach somebody who is going to be shopping for insurance on some of the key things that they need to be asking the agent, as well as when they're comparing policies, a quote from you versus a quote from somebody else? They need to be looking apples to apples, right? And comparing the same like deductibles and coverages. So can you help educate people on some of those things that they should keep in mind?
Right. So just kind of walk through a policy. Coverage A, that is the money used to replace your home. So say a flood comes from a tropical storm, and I'm going to jump over to flood insurance for a second. The coverage A is the money to rebuild your house. On a normal homeowner's policy, floods are not covered if they're from the ground up. That would be coverage A on your homeowner's insurance policy. You want to make sure that that's correct. We want to know how much money the house is per square foot. And we want to look at your other structures, especially if you have a detached garage. We want to have good coverage for that detached garage. And then personal property, think about how much coverage you would like for that personal property of yours if it were to be swept up in a hurricane or a flood or a fire. Other structures, including, say, a pool or a fence or a detached garage, are important to have coverage on, because if your home does get swept up in a hurricane or a flood or a fire, you'll have money to rebuild it. Let's see, liability. We're in a sue-happy world right now. It's important to have the highest liability you can have. It's like maybe $7 more to have $500,000 there. So, no brainer. Everyone needs to do that. Other items, buried utility lines or service line coverage. One of my neighbors cut into some kind of water pipe in their yard. Guess what? They have now a huge issue. I don't know yet if they have buried utility lines coverage, but these are endorsements that you can make on a policy to make it stronger. So I offer all of these endorsements to show people what they can do coverage wise. So from your house to the sidewalk, you're responsible for that area underground, whether it's water pipes or, any kind of wiring under there. So when you are doing like a landscaping project, you need to have the water company come, the electrical company come and map out, those colorful flags and the colorful paint they put in your yard. You need to go ahead and do all that. Otherwise, if it's cut into, you're going to have a problem. Hurricane deductible is big here. You definitely want to know if it's a percentage, like 2% or 1%, or maybe you want to have something like $1,000 deductible or $5,000 deductible. It's very important to understand and know what you're getting into. Same for all other perils, things like fire. You want to make sure that the deductible is at a comfortable place for you. If it's not, then talk to your agent and make sure that you're comfortable with what you have on your policy.
I do want to get into the flood insurance, hurricanes, all of that, because of course in our area, it's a huge concern for people who live here and people who are thinking about moving here. So there's a homeowners insurance policy, which does not cover flooding and hurricanes. So those are separate things that you add on to your standard homeowners insurance policy, right?
Well, the hurricane should be included unless you are doing a separate hurricane policy. So say where you live, no carrier will write hurricane insurance. You can get it separately, but most all homeowners insurance, they will cover hurricane under their policy. Flood insurance is definitely separate, and it's important even if you're not in a flood zone. I live on Johns Island. I'm not in a flood zone. Guess what? My mom lives right down the street, same street name. She's in a flood zone. Smart for both of us to have flood insurance. If you have a mortgage, you have to have it no matter what. Even if you don't have a mortgage, even if you're not in a flood zone, we live in a coastal region. It is very smart to have coverage. And I always recommend that you get the same coverage A as on your homeowner's insurance. FEMA will write as high as $250,000 for your flood. You can't rebuild a lot of houses in Charleston for $250,000, so then I would recommend a private flood insurance carrier to cover the rest of your house, contents, and then the cost of your house. And then they have loss of use as money that you would have access to if you have to move out of your house or because your house has been swept away by, say, a flood.
So how does the insurance carrier distinguish damage from flood versus hurricane? Hurricane would be more like the wind damage versus flood would be the rising waters that come into the home. Is that the basic definition?
You got it, Sarah. It's easy. So you think about rising water, and that would be from the ground up. Could be a river, could be storm surge from the ocean. It could be from water pipes backing up in your city. If you don't have flood insurance, you are self-insuring to rebuild your house. We don't want that for anyone, especially seeing what just happened with Kaleigh and the devastation that storm caused. Also, earthquake insurance. You can write on a regular homeowner's policy. A lot of the carriers offer that coverage here in Charleston. You should have it. I have it. I'm on Johns Island. I'm not even in on the earthquake area, which is north of Charleston. So a lot of agencies are having their clients say they don't want earthquake insurance and they're having to sign a form because we are perhaps due for one. You just never know. I'm risk averse. I like to be protected, especially when it comes to my largest asset. And I love all my clients. I want them to be protected. My job is to educate, and then they choose.
Yeah, there was a big earthquake sometime, I forget the year, mid-1800s, I want to say, in Charleston that devastated a lot of the downtown area at that time. So like you said, a lot of people say, oh, we're due for one, right? Because there is actually a fault line north of Charleston.
That's correct. And I just have it to be safe. And when it comes to hurricanes, so say a hurricane blew open your window, and so it was wind or it was a rock or a tree branch, something like that. If it's caused by the hurricane, then your hurricane insurance is going to kick in. If water gets in from the window and creates a flood in your house that way, then that would be hurricane insurance. But if the flood is coming from the ground, then it's flood insurance.
So I do have a whole video all about flood zones. So if people want to watch that, I break down the different types of flood zones. But the point is, even in an X flood zone, which is our lowest flood zone here, and if you are financing with a mortgage, it's not required to carry flood insurance for an X flood zone. However, you and I both always recommend to our clients, like you said earlier, that it's super important to have that coverage. We do, of course, get a lot of storms and just living in such a low-lying area. It's called the low country for a reason, right? We have a lot of creeks and rivers, and even just sometimes at high tide and some basic rain, some places can flood. So we just always want to be, as prepared as possible and as, minimizing our risk the best that we can. Now, I know you're going to hate this question, but people want to know a range. So for homeowners insurance, what are you seeing these days? I know it varies dramatically, like we talked about earlier, based on the house, based on the size, based on your credit, all of those things. But can you give a range for averages of what you're seeing per month on what people are spending on homeowners insurance in our area?
So for a new build in a good location, you could pay as little as $900 a year. Now, with that being said, discounts are available. All sorts of discounts, fire alarm, burglar alarm. If you are retired, if you're a veteran, if you do your auto insurance with me, you can do a bundle discount. So $900 would be with some discounts with me doing a bundle with the auto. And then, I've seen prices as high as probably $7,000. And this would be like beachfront, really nice homes. So we'll say $900 to $7,000.
Yeah. So as you can see, those of you watching, huge range depending on the house and the location and all the different variables. So same with flood insurance for an X flood zone, let's say, so the optional insurance for people. What are the ranges that you would give for basic flood insurance for an X flood zone?
Be like 200 to 5,000. It depends how much coverage you want, how risky you are, etc. And it depends on your house, what it's made of, if it's raised, if it's ground level. There's so many factors. I love having an elevation certificate for writing flood insurance. So that's handy to have. It can be expensive, but it's way less expensive than not having it when a tragedy occurs.
What are you seeing? Because in recent years, I know a lot of people, again, when they reach out to me, some people, they're moving here from other states, they're looking at Florida and South Carolina and kind of deciding where they want to go. And a lot of people are aware that Florida has been a nightmare with natural disasters in recent years. And a lot of the carriers have pulled out of Florida and premiums have skyrocketed. How would you say Charleston is doing the last few years with prices? I know there's been an increase, of course, because there's been an increase across the country in insurance costs, not just here. What would you say, have you seen carriers drop out? Are there new carriers coming in? Can you give what you're seeing on the front lines, a little recap of the dynamics that are going on with the actual insurance companies and the areas of the country that they're choosing to cover and not cover right now?
Well, we have had some carriers drop out, but carriers they're very funny. So if they get to capacity, then they will decide not to write insurance. They'll pull out, but they might be back in the next week or the next month. And here in the Low Country, I just feel very, very thankful to have coastal carriers. And coastal carriers that will cover hurricanes. In Florida, it's different. A lot of the insurance carriers, they are not writing hurricane coverage. just part of their policies. You can't get hurricane coverage. And I don't ever want to be in that situation here. So I'm thankful for our top coastal carriers, and they do a good job.
Yeah, just curious on, what you see on the front lines in the industry with the fluctuations in coverage. I know that we have had some changes, but at the end of the day, people can get coverage. And I've heard some other parts of the country where there was no one that just couldn't find coverage at all. So they couldn't move forward with the purchase, which is just mind blowing. So knock on wood, I haven't experienced that here. I think that there's, still plenty of options for people in Charleston.
Yes, we definitely have options, and they're still affordable. Prices do go up, and it's been very tough the last year and a half, 2 years with fluctuating prices, and that is due to the storms. They're causing a lot of issues, a lot of claims. So hopefully things will level out with the storms and with the prices, but we're lucky to have insurance. So I want to help people find, what's right for them. I think, Sarah, you're going to see a lot of people coming to South Carolina over Florida.
Yes, I talked to a lot of people that were saying we were going to go to Florida as of a few years ago, but given everything we've witnessed the last few years and with the prices of homeowners insurance and property taxes and, all these different fees that some of the communities have, they've ruled it out and now they're coming to South Carolina. So we have seen a lot of that migration pattern change over recent years. Well, I don't want to hold you up all day, Kayla, but is there anything else, any parting words or things that we didn't cover that you think would be super important for the people watching to know?
Yeah, I think really just make sure you have good communication with your agent where you feel comfortable asking questions. There is no silly question out there, and your agent should explain to you all the different options out there so that you know what you can have if you would like it. So I'd love to continue to help the community with their flood insurance and their residential property casualty insurance. And what I do is provide just a boutique service, and I do pick up my phone. Yeah, we need that. It's hard. I think a lot of agents, and this might go for real estate, probably not for real estate actually, but it's hard to get an agent that can pick up their phone, but because I'm independent, I have just a lot of freedom to write policies and spend as much time with the client as needed. So I feel lucky to have my job as an independent agent with CNC Insurance Group, and I'm thankful to help our community.
Awesome. Well, we're going to put all of your contact information in the description of this video so that people can reach out. Is there a preferred method that you'd like for people to reach out to you on?
Email's great because then we can track your conversations and have kind of, things in writing. So email is great. And then if you, can't get in touch with me, then call or text.
Perfect. Well, we'll put all that information for everyone to grab in the description. So thank you very much, Kayla, for joining me today. It's been great chatting with you. I know it's been really valuable for everybody watching, and Kayla has helped tons of my clients with their insurance policies, and they say that they've saved a lot of money by, switching from their old carriers and bundling things. And so if you would like to save some money and get some other options, then definitely reach out to Kayla and she would be glad to help.
Yeah, kind of a forever relationship. I'm not a one-stop. I like to help my people forever. And Sarah, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me and for me to meet with you. It's been super fun.
I hope you found this video helpful. If you would like to see future videos about insurance, please leave a comment below and let us know. Give us some ideas of the things that would be helpful for you to learn more about on this channel so that we can continue to cater the content for your interest and serve your highest needs. If you found this video helpful, like it and subscribe to the channel so that you can be the first one to know about all things Charleston. Your support means a lot to me and helps keep this channel going. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.